Closed captioning of this program is underwritten by the Office of Self-Determination and Constitutional Development of UVI.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of WTJX, its board, staff, or underwriters.
Good day, and welcome to the League of Women Voters Meet the Candidates Forum, a program produced in collaboration with WTJX TV for well over 35 years. It is our hope that through these programs, you, the voting public, will have a better understanding of each candidate running for elective office in the U.S. Virgin Islands. We invite you to look at all our programs for the 2024 election year right here on WTJX TV, with candidates seeking office as a senator in the 36th legislature or as delegates for the Constitutional Convention. For the first time also, we are interviewing candidates for the boards of education and election. Although all the candidates for these positions were invited, not all responded or accepted the invitation. We're delighted to have here today 3 candidates running for position on the Board of Election, 2 in the St. Croix District and 1 in the St. Thomas St. John District. This show will be 30 minutes long. I am Francine Lang, a member of the League of Women Voters of the Virgin Islands, and I will serve as the moderator for today's program. The candidates have been informed in advance of the guidelines for the program. No candidate had access to the questions in advance. The first responder to each question will be rotated among the participants. Timing of a question will be announced in advance. Any comment directed specifically at a participant by another participant will be followed by a rebuttal of 50 seconds. All are expected to be respectful of everyone else. So let's begin. I will ask each candidate to identify who they are and to state their name, ballot number, and political affiliation. We will learn more about each as our discussion ensues. Let's start with candidate number 1. Please just state your name, ballot number, and political affiliation.
Greetings. My name is Dr. Cleopatra Peter. My ballot number is number 5, and my party affiliation is Republican.
Candidate number 2.
My name is Epiphan Joseph, Joe Joseph. I am a 2-term presently serving on the Board of Election, and I'm seeking for re-election. My ballot number is number 4.
And candidate number 3.
Greetings. My name is Barbara Laurent. I am from the St. Thomas District. My ballot number is 2, and I am of the Republican Party.
Thank you. We'll start with the first question to Dr. Peter. What motivated you to want to serve on this board?
What motivated me to serve on this board was...
You have 60 seconds.
I have 60, okay. What motivated me to serve on this board was witnessing what I think occurred in last election. I saw some discrepancies. I saw someone putting their hand in the DS200 drum drive, and how that whole thing occurred. I did not appreciate it, and for some reason, I think the people of the Virgin Islands wasn't getting the response that we wanted. We wanted more transparency, more accountability, and if something happens in the election system, especially on camera, come and face the people. Tell the people what happened. Tell the people truthfully what happened. And as a result, I started asking questions, writing letters, and they ignoring the questions. So we felt that there is something wrong with this election. So I think I need to be on the board to be able to ask for fair elections here in the Virgin Islands.
Thank you. Mr. Joseph, what motivates you to continue to serve on this board?
Well, before I actually run for the board, I was an activist. I went to all the meetings. For about 11 years, I had a better attendance record than all the board members. I saw firsthand what was happening, and one incident that triggered me was when someone who was convicted of moral turpitude, they put her on the ballot. Then that triggered me to run for the board. I ran 3 times, and then the 4th time I was elected, and I've been serving for two terms, and I've enjoyed the present. The board have changed, and I want to continue for my last term.
Thank you. And Ms. Laurent, what motivated you to want to serve on this board?
I've been an activist within the St. Thomas St. John district, and in fact, the entire territory for a number of years. I became very personally involved with the process during the 2012 election. And as I've continued to look on, I saw where a fair representation at what is affectionately known as the gateway to our elections required a little bit more of a aggressive and capable member of the election board team. And I've chosen to be a part of that.
Thank you. For the next question, we'll start with Mr. Joseph. What talents or skills are needed by members of this board? How did you demonstrate any of these over your tenure on the board? And you have 60 seconds.
First of all, you have to be somebody who's conscious and understand that election is a sacred thing, and that fair election is important, and one has to be honest, and I think I bring that on the board. I advocate for free and fair election, and that's what I've been pushing ever since I came on the board, and I think we have come from a long way to where we are today. I would say that I've said it on the radio, I've said it in person. The former Senator Adelbert Burt Bryan changed the election system from what it was to what it is today. And I'm glad that I have been around to see those changes, and I want to continue to see.
Thank you. Ms. Laurent, what talents or skills do you think are needed by members of this board, and how did you demonstrate any of those in your career to date?
Thank you for asking. I think first and foremost, the board members should be familiar with the laws that govern them. And I have become very familiar with those. I also think that what I offer to this community is a fair position, ensuring that each voter would have their votes counted. One man, one vote. That is my role on the Board of Election, or would be my role for the Board of Election.
Thank you. And Dr. Peter, how did you demonstrate any of these qualities in your career to date?
How I've demonstrated these qualities is being an advocate here in the Virgin Islands and witnessing that there is some disparities in this election. And one of the things that I'm advocating for is votes to be counted where they cast. I think that when someone votes in one room, that room should be where the votes should be counted. The vote should not leave this room to go in another room or be transported to go somewhere else to be counted. It cannot be trusted. As a result, our votes are very important, and it needs to be counted where it's cast, and that is what I'm advocating for.
Thank you. And I will start with Ms. Laurent for this next question. What changes do you see are needed to improve the system's processes or to enhance vote security? You have 60 seconds.
Well, as the other panelists mentioned, votes being counted where they're cast is, I think, number one. First, ensuring that we have active participation from our community, a greater number of active participation in the election system, and the election process, and casting be counted where they're cast, votes being counted where they're cast. Paper ballots are also a very vital part of this because we have an opportunity to validate what is being produced by these machines with paper ballots. I do believe that with those two things put in place, we will have a greater impact on the trust and the integrity of our election system.
Thank you. Dr. Peter, again, what changes do you see are needed to improve the system's processes or to enhance vote security?
What's crucially important is restoring trust in the election system. We have all witnessed strange things occurring during the election cycle. So it's very important for votes to be counted where they cast. And again, having honest people counting the votes, because that is the root of a lot of the corruption here in the Virgin Islands. Being able to not have people count the votes and the votes are being moved around, it's suspicious. And as a result, I think that is the root of all the corruption that's here. So it's imperative that we have a truthful board that will count votes where they cast and give the votes to whoever wins. It doesn't matter who wins. Whoever wins, give the election to them. Not put your hand on the scale and votes are disappearing. Count the votes where they cast, paper ballot, put it in a regular box, count the votes.
Thank you. And Mr. Joseph, what recent changes have there been in the system to improve election processes or to enhance vote security in the VI? Is there any more that needs to be done? Please explain, and you have 60 seconds.
For many years, we voted using the Sutronic machine. We voted on the machine, we pressed the candidate, and we didn't know, there was no way to audit our vote. Until it was in 2010, it was first used in 2012, we have the ES&S machines, and we have the DS200. Those machines, I believe in them. I think they are trustworthy. We have an opportunity to, we don't really vote by machine, we vote by paper. And the machine, we cast it on the machine, so the system can be audited. You have the ballots as well as the machine counts. I think we can enhance this machine and going forward by law.
Thank you. Ms. Laronde, do you have anything to add to or to oppose this answer? You have 50 seconds, 50.
I do. I think that paper ballots without being casted into the machine should be also an option for validation. I do support the use of the machines to count votes casted, but how does that impact write-ins? Where in the system, the machines, are there records for write-in candidates? That would be my question.
Thank you. And Dr. Peter, is there anything that you'd like to add or to oppose to this answer?
Yes, as I am
50 seconds, 50.
At the age of 23, I was graduated as a software engineer. As a software engineer, I could basically do anything on a computer. And as a result, I would not trust anyone behind a computer counting my votes. Our votes is too important. And I was doing a calculation from the EAC.gov website, and also I did some tabulation with the vivote.gov website, and the numbers are different. They do not add up. They're not matching. So you could easily see the discrepancies in the numbers of what they put in the election system. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and again, we're going to continue with Mr. Joseph. What could be done to encourage the involvement of younger voters, as voter turnout is mostly by those older? You have 60 seconds.
I think we need a better crusade of the importance to vote. We need to go to the schools to encourage young people to participate. I think there must be a greater outreach. I think the board presently have failed in that aspect. I propose that we go directly to the neighborhood and registered people to vote. Going back to the machine, the thing that we need to have a system where we can audit.
Can you
the vote.
please stay on the question about younger voters?
Well, the thing that we have started going to the schools. I think that's where it starts in anything, in sports and anything. Go directly to the young people to encourage them to vote.
Thank you. Ms. Laurent, do you have anything to add to or oppose this answer?
No, I would also like to add, I don't oppose, but I would like to add that I think if we were to improve on the civic laws taught in our school system, we would have more participation, not just civic laws in general, but referring to many of the lessons learned here in our territory over the years. In addition to that, I think that we as a territory can create local laws that would ensure at the age of 18, each now adult would be empowered by registering for the Board of Election. It doesn't, or as a registered voter. It doesn't ensure that they will exercise that power, but by giving them that power at the age of 18, I do believe we'll have a better chance of involvement or participation.
Dr. Peter, do you have anything to add or oppose to this response? And you also have 50 seconds.
All right. A group of us go in different communities and educate the public on the importance of voting. And as young people, we go talk to and we speak to them and we inform them that it's very important for them to get involved and be part of the process. But again, if votes are not counted where they're cast, they don't trust the system. They have parents that don't trust the system that's saying that in the children's ear. So they're like, oh, we're not voting because, hey, votes are being stolen. So when the parents are echoing that, the children echo the same thing. So that's why it's important for us to make sure votes are counted where they cast and we go out in the community and inform them. It's important for them to get involved because whatever decision we make will affect them.
Thank you. All right, so we'll start with Dr. Peter for this question. Could you support a board decision that you did not agree with? Why or why not? You have 60 seconds.
If I would support a decision, repeat the question again.
Could you support a board decision that you did not agree with? Why or why not?
That question is funny, but anyway, can I support something I don't agree with? I can't support something I don't agree with. If I don't agree with it, I don't agree with it. And I stand behind, even if, like I said before, well, I've said this in the past, even if I'm the only one standing, if I believe in something, I'm going to stand for it, even if I'm the only one standing.
Thank you. Mr. Joseph, you have the same question. Could you support a board decision that you did not agree with? Why or why not?
I believe in democracy, majority goes, but I would like to weigh in my opposition. This is the parliamentary position, and the vote is cast. I would go along with the majority decision, but I would cast my opposition why I disagree with their policy.
Thank you. And Ms. Laurent, again, would you be able to support a board decision that you did not agree with? Why or why not? And you have 60 seconds.
I do also believe in democracy, and I think that as the majority rules, when we are positioned in this elected seat as a member of the board, there are decisions that may not line in favor with my own choice. Again, I would like and would ensure that I voice my positions and would go along with the board's decision as long as it is not breaking the law. That is what I will be following, what our local laws define for us to follow.
Thank you. And we'll start again with Mr. Joseph. There is a push for election reform. What reform issues are of importance to you? You have 60 seconds.
I think there is a misunderstanding about the election system. The election system is under the legislature, and any change that is being proposed has to be done through the legislature. I think that we need election reform. We need a total reform of how we are our system is apportioned. I think we need election reform in the sense of reapportion the whole system of the Virgin Islands. Then we will be able to see our system work better.
Thank you. Ms. Laurent, do you have anything new to add or to oppose this answer?
Would you ask the question again for me?
Yes, and you have 50 seconds. There is a push for election reform. What reform issues are of importance to you?
I think the amount of board members. I do understand that there are representation from each party and non-party members on the board. I understand the balance that must be maintained in order for a fair and equal representation of our territory. But I question often, is there really a need for 15 members?
Thank you. And Dr. Peter, again, is there anything that you'd like to add or oppose to that response? Do you need me to read the question again?
No.
Okay. You have 50 seconds, please.
We definitely need election reform. But the election reform we don't need like the supervisor of election going to the Senate and changing the laws that affects the board. We need the board to vote on it and then come to the Senate and present it to the Senate where all the board voted on an amendment to the VI code. Instead, we have the supervisor of election, especially on September 8, 2022, going to the Senate and changing laws that applies to the board, where the supervisor now is changing the laws to the Senate, that affects the board. I don't think that should be happening. The supervisor of election is an employee of the board.
Thank you. This last question, again, we'll start with Mr. Joseph. What is the best way to address the differences of opinion between the board and the system? You have 60 seconds.
When you say the system, what do you...
The election system
well,
and the board.
The election system is the supervisor and the board. And again, the legislature is the code. The legislature is the one who changed the law, and so far, even though the supervisor is an employee of the board, but the supervisor is the sole person responsible to conduct election, and then the board has to certify. I think that needs to be looked into and reformed and changed.
Thank you. Ms. Laurent, do you have anything new to add to or to oppose this answer? You have 50 seconds.
Can you ask the question?
Sure. What is the best way to address differences of opinion between the Board of Election and the election system? You have 50 seconds.
Oppose. Again, I think in proper process of writing, addressing it with the board and the entire system, as Mr. Joseph mentioned before, the supervisor of election is a part of the system. And I think for us to have any correct approach to approvals or concurring or non-concurring matters, we should have a clear position on who has which roles. I think that would be a vital part of understanding how the system works and where the board comes to play and how we can correct those.
Unfortunately, we're out of time. So I would like each candidate will have 60 seconds for a closing statement to tell voters why they are a choice candidate for the Board of Election, starting with Dr. Peter.
Greetings again. I'm Dr. Cleopatra Peter, and I'm running for the Board of Election, number 5 on your ballot. I believe elections are very important and that everyone in the Virgin Islands who are of age should participate in our election. And I think it's very important that our election system and the Board of Election need to understand and respect everyone's vote. One vote, one voice. Free and fair elections for all. Votes need to be counted where they cast. With that in place, it will ensure free and fair elections, and we'll probably have a better Virgin Islands and less corruption. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Joseph, your closing statement, please, 60 seconds.
I want to thank the League of Women Voters for inviting me to this forum. I appreciate the opportunity. I am Ibifan Joe Joseph. My number is number 4 in the ballot. I am seeking for re-election. I have enjoyed my experience on the Board of Election. The Board of Election is not what it used to be. There's been a lot of reform. It's transparent. I just would encourage people to be more vigilant. Come out to the meeting. The meetings are open for you to come and inspect and see what is going on, instead of just staying outside and assume things and go by everything you hear. But come, see. That's what I did for 11 years before I got on the board. I would like to serve for one more term, and I'm out of there. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Ms. Laurent, 60 seconds.
Greetings. My name is Barbara Laurent, candidate from the St. Thomas St. John District, number 2 on your ballot, and I would like to ask for your support and your vote as we work towards a secure of one man, one vote. It is very important that we can trust the Board of Election and the entire election system that our voices will be heard. I ask for your support as I ensure a fair and completely transparent perspective of what happens within the board. I thank you so much for the participation here with the League of Women Voters, and I look forward to seeing you all at the polls.
Thank you, candidates and viewers. And thank you, WTJX TV and staff, for today's program. The League of Women Voters hopes this program has helped with you, the voter, in knowing the candidates for the Board of Elections, and in so doing, informed your vote for November. The League reminds you that your vote determines the future of the Virgin Islands. Every vote does count. During elections, we often see an individual who barely makes the cut because a few more people did vote, or one who barely loses and wishes if only a few more persons had voted. So, let your voice be heard by your vote. It's your right. Take it. Thank you for watching. I am Francine Lang for the League of Women Voters of the Virgin Islands, saying, vote early or vote on election day. Just vote.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of WTJX, its board, staff, or underwriters.
Closed captioning of this program was underwritten by the Office of Self-Determination and Constitutional Development of UVI.